Welcome to Florida in Flip-Flops.
Hello everybody around the world. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I would love to talk about homemade tips and tricks on how you can teach your children a foreign language. So why is this important? Well, to me it is. My kids, they all speak several languages. Because I want them to get closer to people, to other cultures, get a better understanding of people, and it's just a great skill to have. You know, it just brings the world together. It brings peace, you know. So let's dive right into it, right? Let's start with step number 1. So the first question you have to ask yourself, why? Why would you teach your child a language? Why? Is it because in your household, maybe mom or dad, you know, speaks another language? Do you have family members that live somewhere that you visit often? Or what else? Is it because maybe you're moving? So why is it necessary? It better makes good sense, right? Because it's a lot of work, I tell you that. Which language makes sense, right? Because you don't want to start a language and then you realize, oh my God, it's too difficult, or it really doesn't make sense. It's a waste of time and energy, right? So you really want to know, the language you want to teach. Do I have some knowledge about the language, which would be really great, because the more knowledge you have, the easier the lesson would go. You know already the pronunciation, you know if it has a formal or an informal way, and it's just a great help and a big advantage to know the language already. Shall my child learn how to read or to write? Or just listen and practice? It just depends how deep you want to go into the language, right? How serious you want to be. Is it just something you want to, do a little bit here and there? Or is it something you really want to go into depth with the child, with the grammatic stuff and everything else? Or is it just, a little bit something to have fun? Your child's language skill. Does your child already know a language? So if he or she knows some of the language, that's already a good start, because you can just continue wherever your child has been left off, right? And is it a beginner? Is it advanced? Is it intermediate, right? So that's very important to find out a little bit. And important is to find age-appropriate material, right? For example, my son was about 5-6 years old when I bought him books for like 7-8 years old, like, a little bit more advanced stuff, right? Because he knew already a lot of one of the languages, so it doesn't make sense buying a book for 5-year-old if he's much more advanced. So please make sure that you get the material, the language material for your child's level. What material do you have already? Do you have the books? Do you have some worksheets? Do you have DVDs or videos? And I give you one advice: it's very important that they're really colorful and happy, and that makes a big difference than just black and white. Okay, so make sure they're really colorful, because the child always looks at the book or the story or the paper, and so that's important. Also, when you get a DVD or a video or a movie, whatever, make sure that movie is really very clear in the pronunciation, because some languages like Spanish and Italian, most of these things are really fast. They talk very fast in the radio, they talk fast in their movies, they sing songs very fast. So make sure when you buy material, right, that you don't have yet, that you research a little bit about it, and that you really make sure it's clear and not too fast. Yeah, so if you have stuff at home, that's great. And if not, well, what else do you need? Do you need to order something on the internet, or, go to the store? That all depends on you guys. Don't forget preparation time, okay? you need a lot of time to teach another language, because don't forget, the lesson itself is going to be what, 30 minutes, 60 minutes? Then you do it what, twice a week or 3 times a week? All right, so 2-3 times by an hour, by 60 minutes or 30 minutes. Don't forget, you have to prepare all this stuff, right? The worksheets, the DVDs or whatever material you have, the pronunciation, and it all depends. If you know the language, well, the better it is and the easier it will be. But if you do not know the language, it will take you a lot of preparation time before the lesson and during the lesson. So be very aware of the time consuming that this project would take on you. So one thing also important, you have to be very consistent and absolutely dedicated to teach the language, otherwise forget it. Okay, it's a lot of work. So if you're not dedicated to it, and if you don't have the time, you know, you can't do like a wishy-washy, right? Either you do it or you don't. So that's very important. The child, again, needs consistent training. It needs repetition. It needs practice, because otherwise the kids will just forget it. So you really have to do it at least twice a week. Also, you have to think about, when do I teach these languages? Will it be on the weekend? Will it be after school? You know, because you can't teach your child a language when your child is very much involved in sports or hobbies, right? So, you know, don't stress out your child with sports, hobbies, plus language lessons. It's gonna be too much, all right? So you have to know, do I have time? When do we have time to do it? And then also ask yourself, can I be firm? Can I be strict, but also fun and relaxed? Because, you know, when you do a lesson, you shouldn't really be distracted by, I don't know, your dog or food, munching here and there, some crackers or stuff. It's just very distracting. Picking up the phone, right? Everything should be quiet around it. And just don't forget, you just have to go into a teaching mode, right? Because you're gonna be the teacher. And, you know, it's like when your child goes to school, he or she knows exactly what's going on there, right? That they cannot just, you know, play the clown or whatever, that there are certain rules and certain guidelines, right? And the same thing you have to apply to your lessons. So, and then there is our great friend, the translator. So if you're not sure about the language, if you're not very familiar with the language, okay, don't rely on the translator itself, because it's not always telling you the truth, especially with the formal and informal way of the language, right? The informal way would be if you speak to your kids, your relatives and friends and family members, that's informal. But the formal way would be when you talk to business people or elderly people or strangers. So that's the formal way, right? I give you an example. I was putting in the translator this morning in English. You love flowers? You love flowers, right? And I wanted to be formal. Like, you know, when I see an elderly person or somebody that I don't know, you know, I'm like, do you love flowers? You know? You love flowers? So it would be the formal way, right? But the translator gave me the informal way, like if I would talk to a friend or to a child. So that's wrong, because look, you love flowers. In German it said, du liebst Blumen, but it should be Sie lieben Blumen. Okay, so that's totally different. Or even in Italian, I was, you know, putting in Italian with the same sentence, you love flowers, and it also gave me the informal way, right? It says, tu ami I fiori, instead of lei ama I fiori. So there's a big difference. Or in French, the same. It gave me an informal way, which was tu aimes les fleurs instead of vous aimez les fleurs. So you see there is a big difference. So even, in Tamil, right, we have ni is for you and it's informal. Informal again, for kids or family members or people, it's ni, right? And then the longer words down here is ninge. It's for people that you don't know. It's the formal way. So ni and ninge. So you see, even in Tamil, there is a formal and an informal way, right? So there is a trick, okay, that you could do on a translator. Just put the sentence of a language that has informal and a formal way, and you will get hopefully the right answer. And if you don't know if your language that you're teaching has formal and informal ways to say stuff, so just research it on the internet, okay? Just find it out yourself. So that was step 1. Let's go step 2.